Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. Finelli. I'm downstairs at my house. Yeah, that's my kitchen back there. And I am home pretty much by myself and trying to get some work done real quick. So, anyway, I'm going to read you chapter 4 of The Road to Freedom real quick. Chapter 4 starts on page 21, so please join me there. The rain poured in buckets from the sky and soaked through every inch of us. Thank you, Mama cried, her arms raised toward the sky. For the rain? I asked, shivering. For covering our tracks and our scent. Can't no dogs find us now, she said. I wonder how many of you put that as part of your answer to why they might be excited or happy about the rain. We started out when the sun set, but when the clouds covering the sky, I couldn't find the North Star. We ran, following alongside the road, slipping through the mud and the wet leaves. Every time we stopped to catch our breath, Mama rubbed her hands along the trunk of a tree. Mama, what are you doing? I asked, panting. Making sure we're headed north. The moss grows on the north side of this here trunks. When we don't have the North Star, we're going to use these trees to lead us. I reached out and felt the spongy moss on the trunk. That way, I pointed up ahead. Mama nodded and we took off running again. The rain finally slowed to a stop, but our dresses were wet and heavy as rocks. Now remember, in our book Escape to Freedom, they also mentioned the moss and that slaves that were trying to run would use the moss that grew on the north side of the trees. So this is a little bit of that nonfiction piece coming into the historical fiction book. Turn the page, please. Page 24. Mama, stop. You hear that? I listened close, and just when I was about to shake my head no, I heard it. A soft, rippling sound. Water, I whispered. Mama nodded, and we hurried our steps. This was the creek we needed to follow. I pretended I didn't feel scared in my chest. After a while, we smelled fire from a chimney, and high on a hill, we saw a house with a lantern in the window. We held hands as we crossed the creek, slipping on rocks. Finally, we made it to the other side. We climbed the hill toward the house, grabbing hold of tree roots and clumps of dirt. Mama reached the top first and pulled me up. The house sat in front of us, bigger up close. We hid behind a group of trees and waited. What are we waiting for, Mama? I whispered in her ear. Mama didn't answer. Turn the page, please, page 26. More time passed, and an old white woman came out. She carried a quilt in one arm and a quilt beater in the other. And when she reached the fence, she hung the quilt over, beat it a few times, and walked back to the house. It's safe, Mama said, and started towards the house as I hurried behind. We went around back and knocked softly 3 times. Just as Mama was about to knock again, the door opened. Welcome, the old woman said, and pulled us inside. Now, for those of you who are not sure, if you look at the picture on page 26, the quilt beater is in the woman's hand. And I want you to think about why might she have been beating the quilt. And sometimes they would beat the quilt to get out the dirt and the dust because they didn't have washing machines, obviously, like we do now. And it was too much work to hand wash the quilt the way that we could easily now just stick it in the wash machine. But back then they didn't have that. So they would beat it every now and again to get the dust and the dirt out. All right, guys, so that's it for chapter 4. It's a very quick one. You do have some activities to do, and then tomorrow we'll move on to chapter 5. Have a great day.